We're going to rub our crystal balls and predict what the NFL is going to look like in 2050, because God knows that the NFL didn't look like it does now in like 1985 or even 2000. So one of mine, gentlemen, is around the QB sack. I see it pretty much being completely eliminated by 2050. So the quarterback is going to literally have like a flag like sticking out of like their the bottom of their jersey. So it's going to kind of be like flag football. And the sack it's not going to be called the sack anymore. It's going to be called the yank off. We're going to yank the guy off, the quarterback.
Did not see that coming. The yank off.
Another wild week in the NFL. JD's Bears rally late to beat the G-Men. The Seahawks and Patriots prove that they might be the teams to beat this year. And yes, the Jets have notched yet another win in their belt. It is a minor miracle. I am D-Pro. This is the Forced Fumble. Follow us on Instagram or on YouTube at the Forced Fumble, or subscribe on Apple or Spotify. Coming up later, it's crystal ball time here on the Forced Fumble. Changes we see in the NFL coming in the next 25 years. What is the NFL going to look like in 2050? But first, JD, Chewbacca. A lot happening this week, a lot to unpack, fantasy, survivor, otherwise. But was there a team that specifically stood out to either of you as having taken a significant step forward, or the alternative, a step backwards?
No, I'm going to give it to JD's Bears right here. Although they did what really everybody's been doing lately, and that's scoring a shit ton of points against the Giants in the fourth quarter. Down 10 points at home, Bears at 6-3. I mean, this was again, backs against the wall, down 10 points. They score 14 unanswered. Caleb has some key runs, and maybe that kid is really turning the corner and ready to start sniffing. I'm not going to say they're going to make the playoffs, but they're in the hunt, and they could have just folded and lost and been 5-4. Just another taint kicking season for JD. But instead, I thought they took a real big step forward.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. They won 6 out of their last 7. The Bears have. It feels like they're infinitely beatable. They are very, very beatable. Like they're constantly, like Rocky coming off the ropes, and it's like, all right, and I need another haymaker here, guys. And they delivered that haymaker against the Giants. I mean, I think it was only 7 minutes left. They're down by 10, and 14 unanswered in those final minutes to win. It's funny, even Giants fans, friends of mine, after they went up by 10, were like, Giants are going to lose this game. I was like, come on. No, they're not. Oh, yeah, they did.
When they settle for field goals, when they should be scoring touchdowns.
Yes,
that's what the Giants
call by
fans
Dable.
know.
Bad call by Dable.
You mentioned that because I feel like the biggest team or person that took a step backwards was Brian Dable himself. I mean, that's here in my notes, because if he is going to keep this job as coach, a lot has to go right. He has to prove that he's the man in that position. And yes, okay, you were smart enough. Anybody would be smart enough to start the young rookie as to try and save your job. But you have to make the decisions when it's, and not give up these fourth quarter meltdowns. I mean, a lot of that's on coaching. I feel like this was the game he lost his job definitively for next year.
Speaking of fourth quarter collapses, a team that I think is definitely taking yet another step back, Jacksonville Jaguars. They lost today to the David Mills-led Houston Texans, FYI. And specifically what I want to call out is in the fourth quarter, the Texans outscored the Jaguars by 26. 26-0 outscored the Jaguars in the fourth quarter. How is that even mathematically possible? I don't know. And I also look, obviously Trevor Lawrence doesn't line up on defense. That's fine. But I also look a lot to Trevor in these games and what he's showing us. They're always saying, oh, he's going to be, the next Manning. It turns out they meant Cooper Manning. Okay. Because I'm not seeing it, kids. I'm not seeing, this golden boy guy who's about to take the leap. The only leap he's taking is off a cliff in my eyes.
Yeah. I mean, as a Trevor Lawrence fantasy owner, I can wholeheartedly agree. And that was funny. I was watching, Red Zone with my son, and I said, those Jaguars are really surprising. They have a winning record, but to just backtrack a little bit here, JD, with your Bears, it almost doesn't feel like they do, where they feel every week it feels like they could or should be beat. I feel like in a way they're under and overachieving at the same time, because they have a winning record still miraculously, but you just know if they get into the playoffs, they are going to be the curtain jerkers. They're going to lose that first week that, like, usually reserved for the Texans. They're going to lose in the first game at like 4:35 or whatever it is. And that's going to be it. Back to the drawing board next year.
Depro. So who's your selection for this week? Who made the step forward or went 2 steps back?
So it would be easy for me to say Seattle because they went out to a 35-0 lead and were just absolutely trouncing the Arizona Cardinals. However, the Cardinals were led by Jacoby Brissett. Seattle was playing at home. However, the New England Patriots, as much as it pains me as a Jets fan to say, because they've only been bad for now, 3, 4, 5 years or whatever at max since Brady left. But they're back to being one of the top dogs in the league. Drake May looks fantastic. And they beat a real contender today and showed a lot of grit in doing so by knocking off Baker Mayfield and the surging Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It'll be a little easier for me to stomach Drake May at the helm than Brady, but but ask me after 4 or 5 Lombardis and that'll be a whole different story. But yeah, the New England Patriots really stood out, particularly the past couple of weeks, as a team that they're coming and they're not going away anytime soon.
And outside of Drake May, I just don't know how they're doing it. I look on paper at that roster and I'm like, this is an XFL roster. I just don't see it in black and white.
Yeah, there's only so much that they can be coaching, right?
Yeah, agreed. And Drake's performance too, Like you said, to beat MVP candidate Baker Mayfield and the Bucs coming off of a bye on the road in the rain.
Yep.
Come on.
That's grit, man. That shows a lot of gumption, as they say.
They're tied with the Broncos for the highest winning streak right now in the NFL, 7 games.
Wow.
New England was 1-2, and now they're 8-2. So, just like we've said before, losers are going to lose, winners are going to win. And I think I wouldn't discount the coaching thing. I mean, that's Vrabel. He's won several Super Bowls there. He's a New England favorite. He's like a home. What do you call that? Like a home son.
Returned, a prodigal son who returned. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I just look, there's something going on in that locker room, and they're getting out there and they're fighting, and that's a tough game. Yeah, I think, but they're good. New England's good.
So speaking of Chewbacca, you hearkening back to losers gonna lose, right? I have to share something, and this goes to fans of the Giants, the Jets, and any fan of a currently losing franchise. As my New York Jets won a game today, and me and my son high-fived after the game. Great win, even if it's over the lowly Browns. I cannot stand fans of franchises like these who get depressed after a win because it hurts their draft status. Oh my God, we're not the number 1 pick in the draft anymore. We're going to miss out on one of the quarterbacks. First of all, you don't know. There's like 4 quarterback prospects that are going to go in the top 10 to 15 picks. But good luck figuring out which of them is going to hit, because, I mean, look at any of the years past. I mean, look at like Jameis Winston was the top overall pick, who's fine, but not a franchise-altering quarterback. Even the year Trevor Lawrence, he was considered a generational talent. We've heard that before, right? And he turned out to be like just okay, and then
that whole draft class was kind of mid.
Yeah. And then it was Zach Wilson that went after him. We all know what happened there. So I am so tired of the way that the draft system works, where, automatically the worst team gets that top pick. I'm actually whole other can of worms. I'm a little bit more in favor of the lottery system the NBA employs, where it doesn't guarantee you the top pick if you have the worst record, because that prevents tanking on a certain level. So yeah, just enjoy the win and enjoy your life. And not every week has to be a whole depressing episode. It could be an opportunity to just breathe a sigh of relief and say, we fucking won. It's nothing better than that.
I think it's a good point. You're going to see on New York talk radio, all these rubes coming on. We lost the top pick with this. It's going to be pretty bad, especially with the Saints winning.
What gives you the confidence that they would know what the fuck to do with the draft pick anyway? So like you said, D-Pro, we're not week 14, we're not week 15, 16, where it's neck and neck for that top draft pick. It's week 10, win ball games. And,
see what you got.
So guys, I'm excited for what's coming next, because we're going to look into the future a little bit. We're going to rub our crystal balls and predict what the NFL is going to look like in 2050, because God knows that the NFL didn't look like it does now in like 1985 or even 2000 or hell, even 2010. So a lot of changes are happening, mostly not for the better, but there have been some advancements, right? So who would like to go first? I would like to hear some of your predictions of what you see coming in the NFL in the next 25 years. Chewbacca, do you want to start with you?
Yeah, sure. So what? Like it's 2000, we were playing 16 games a year. It's 25 years later now. We're only playing one more game than we were in 2000. But there's talk that an 18th game is right around the corner. So yeah, we're the NFL. We care about player safety. Let's have a 22 fucking game schedule. Let's get rid of all the preseason. Let's play until March and 22 games. And it's been a while since we've expanded. You know, we had 30 teams. Then I don't even remember exactly when the Panthers and the Jaguars came in. And, you know, you had the Browns go away, or no, they moved. But then the Browns came back. So I guess, I don't know. There was maybe at one point 29 teams.
What is going on here?
Well, I'm predicting we're going to have an additional at least 4, if not 6 teams. They're all going to be overseas. So more player safety. Players are going to be tired flying to Brazil, flying to Germany, flying to, you know, God knows where. We're going to have a 22 game schedule. We'll have 6 new teams on 4 different continents.
I hate the whole international aspect of the expansion that they're not even like subtle about this. The hog is right on your shoulder saying, suck me. Because if there's one thing the French love, it's concussions and Bud Light, right, guys? It's like, who thought that this is a good idea? Nothing says American football like a 9 a.m. kickoff in Dusseldorf. You know, like no one gives a shit over there. They really don't. They all come in and party for one day. But I don't see them sitting through an entire, 22 game season or whatever you're proposing here,
Yeah.
Baca.
Look, I hope I'm wrong. I'm happy with 17 games. I'm happy with 32 teams, but
I don't think you're,
to
I
think
don't
that it'll
think you're
be
that far off.
yeah, I'm telling you, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Read the tea leaves, as they say, right?
Chewbacca, if that's the case, how do you feel about a doubleheader?
2 games in one day.
I saw somebody suggest that one time, and I still don't know if it was a joke, but I laugh every single time I fucking think about it.
A double
It's the
header.
idea of these NFL players like broken bones getting up there to play a second game.
Dear Lord.
So one of mine, gentlemen, is around the QB sack, which obviously is different, way different now than it was, when we were kids, when our fathers were kids. I see it pretty much being completely eliminated by 2050, but it's going to look different, right? So the quarterback is going to literally have like a flag sticking out of like their, the bottom of their jersey. So it's going to kind of be like flag football. It's not going to be called a sack anymore. It's going to be called the yank off. Like we're going to yank the guy off, the quarterback.
Did not see that coming. The yank off.
And the flag that they that they yank off will have a sponsor on it. So it will be a sponsored flag. So after a yank, the announcers will be like, and Manning gets yanked off, and this yank off is brought to you by Hot Pockets. Go to your local grocery store for a Hot Pocket. That's how I see the QB sack happening in 2050.
Sounds sloppy. I love it.
But I mean,
Deacon
look,
Jones will come back from the dead. I wonder how many yank offs I would have had.
I would have been yanked off by every guy in that locker room.
I'd have been
Look,
yanking guys off left and right.
if you can't even, I would think that defenders would be happy with that, because they clearly, it's almost impossible for a defender to hit the quarterback in like the perfect spot. It's like when you used to like play a video game and you had to shoot like the guy like in this certain point in the head. Defenders have a really, really hard job. I imagine they'd be happy with, okay, I just got to grab the flag, I got to yank him off, and then I get the sack.
It's very interesting. It's
So
very
JD,
outside.
how are you feeling about the future of the NFL?
I'm so excited by yanking off. I can't even think about my notes. About to go yank myself
Wait
off.
till the kids go to bed. I'm gonna Might have to yank myself off.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. Yeah.
Oh, yes, a little too much. Um, all right. So I'm gonna paint a picture, not of one thing. My mind just went to 50 different places. So I just kind of had to like maybe like crystal ball it. Look in the crystal ball and what does the NFL look like in general? So in this 2050, Roger Goodell is still around and very much in his job, except he's deceased, but not really because he's this floating head in a jar, suspended in this jar they call commissioner fluid. They keep him in, and he can talk. He can still talk, but he's a headless body in a jar. But he's still got that bizarre combination of PR sliminess and corporate authoritarianism. Like he still hasn't lost that, even though he lost his limbs. He's still
Is he,
he's still
is he
bringing
still going
that.
to host the draft? Did they like wheel him out to host the draft and everything?
They blew the
Like
glass jar.
like the genie from Pee Wee's Playhouse. Wasn't
Exactly.
that the genie?
Exactly like
Wasn't the
John.
genie like just a head in the box?
Yes. Yes. And he's so like omnipotent now, like he can even and powerful that he can even find players for even thinking about taunting. If you see like Minority Report, you know?
Even think about taunting.
Yeah. It's like an unsportsmanlike vibe infraction he'll hit you with. So a couple other random thoughts I've got here. Sundays are now legally reclassified as mandatory worship. You know, the church in the popularity is going down, NFL Sundays are going up. So now this becomes like our worship. We also, instead of communion wafers, we eat expired nachos, and we are given those. Um, I also see a scenario here where Mac Jones himself he gets one of those old man jobs, you know, like a greeter kind of thing. So Mac Jones, he'll be the head parking attendant in New England, collecting $150 per car from fans. I don't know why. I just see that. I just see that happening for some random reason.
He goes back to New England after. I
Yeah.
don't know if he'd
Just
go
like,
back there.
oh, okay. I was always welcome here, you know, kind of thing. The greeter at Home Depot. In that year's Super Bowl, the Amazon Prime Commanders defeat the Barcelona Wild Wings. I see that happening. Um, Also, the halftime performer Taylor Swift finally agrees to perform. However, at this point, Taylor is thrice divorced. She's had 3 divorces, but she's about to remarry the great grandson of Vince Wilfork. So,
Remarry?
yeah. Oh no,
She's been married before?
she's going to get married a 4th time, but it's to Vince Wilfork's great grandson. She really is dedicated to going hogging this time, ending up with a fatty. Oh, he's just like his great granddad. You know what I mean?
He was
So
a fat defensive tackle for the Patriots.
Yeah.
yes. Oh
That's
yeah.
hysterical.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
A lot
random.
of patriotism. There's a lot of Patriots connections here in JD's predictions.
Yeah. Just kind of running with it. I just feel that the NFL will still give you like a safer game, kind of like the D-Pros point, but it'll still try to maximize concussions per minutes for our entertainment. And also, too, players who celebrate touchdowns must Venmo the league a fine instantly. It gets deducted from their cryptocurrency wallet. So
Do
that's
they
how
have
I
to like
see it.
do it from the sidelines?
Yeah,
Like on
totally.
their phone? Like, they're like, all
The
right,
ref
before
just
you get back in the field, you got to do it. You got to do it from your phone.
Yeah, they do the 2 pump, 3 pump, and the ref hands him a phone. He's like, oh fuck, all right, here I go.
Right there before he leaves the field.
Right to Goodell in his
It's
commissioner
very
fluid.
that's very is that Judge Dredd? What was that?
Yeah,
When
Judge
he-
Dredd,
when
like
he
that
cursed?
dystopian future. Yeah.
Where sins would come
This
out.
feature actually seems pretty fun.
Yeah, it's different, yet the same.
Though, by the way, the Venmo thing is probably not that far off. We might be like a season away from that.
It's close, man. That's how I see it happening in the future. So congratulations to the Amazon Prime Commanders.
Chewbacca, you got anything else?
No, I think we nailed it.
I think we did.
Yeah, kudos to you, Jay, for
Yeah, this
that
is
idea.
Chewbacca's doing. Yeah, he came to the table with our little crystal ball segment here on the Force Fumble. We appreciate it, man.
I thought it'd be fun.
I mean, JD had way more fun than expected on this.
Sorry, I took the ball, fucking ran with it.
So, guys, how we doing in Survivor in Chewbacca's Survivor pool? Because I know one of us is no longer a survivor, and that's you, JD. How do you feel about your pick? You picked the Carolina Panthers, who lost to the Saints this week. How you feeling about it?
Yeah, I wasn't going to go with there's the obvious double-digit point spread, which this week you probably would have gotten burned by that with the Bills. I don't know the exact numbers, but
It was 9.5.
there you go, 9.5. I got way too cute, D-Pro. To your point, I got way too cute. I said, "Oh, here's Carolina. at home. Got the Saints coming in. And when else am I going to use Carolina Panthers this year? This is the perfect time. I'm going to
Probably
pick
never.
them.
Just saying.
But they were on the up, I thought. Like, okay, here's a team who's finally putting it together based on what I
Yep.
was seeing. I
Yeah,
felt
not too cute then. I've been there.
okay.
You want to get an ascending team at home against a lowly opponent. The math kind of added up there.
But yeah, I'm out. Who did you guys have this week?
I had Detroit, who took
Okay.
care of Washington.
Washington.
I had Seattle.
Oh,
The
geez.
1 o'clock games were pretty entertaining, but the 3 o'clock game, the 4 o'clock games rather, were anything but.
Yep.
39 people made it to week 10 in the redemption pool. Only 25 will be making it to week 11. 14 eliminated. 11 people on Buffalo. So 11 people hopped on that, including my youngest. Poor Noah was crying. He's like, "Can I just change my pick?" I'm like, "No, he does this all the
No.
time."
Who are you,
Like,
Parker?
the pool has integrity. You can't change your
How many
pick.
handles does Noah have now?
Noah had just, I give all the boys and myself 2 handles in the original pool. I only gave them 1 handle each because I'm a cheap dad.
So, did you guys see Trump in the Washington game?
I saw the
Yep.
clip online. Yeah.
So
Yep.
I'm like, whenever they have somebody who should not be in the booth, it always makes me feel super uncomfortable for the actual announcers. It's like, when they bring the kid up to the friggin' cockpit in the airplane, like, they shouldn't be there. And Trump is like, very important play. This play is very important. They need a touchdown here. I'm like, don't have him calling like that stuff.
They brought him into the commentary booth? I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
That's an
That was
odd move.
crazy. I'm like, please, like that kind of stuff makes me so uncomfortable because I'm like, just leave the football to the football guys. Like, whether you like Trump or not is besides the point. It was just like it could not end fast enough for me. It was a little, but it was funny to hear him try to like actually do play-by-play of the game. That was funny.
Now I got to hear that.
Shortly thereafter, a commander scored a touchdown, and he started doing the
Yes, that was
pumping his
funny.
fist, doing the Trump dance, which
That was
I
funny.
thought that was pretty funny. And then he had some of his teammates come and dab him up, and I was like, "Oh, I guess they don't mind him doing the." Maybe there's some more Trumpers on that field than I thought.
I don't know if it was a tribute or a taunt. I mean, either way, it worked, but it was funny. So, guys, this has been a lot of fun. As always, I want to thank you guys for listening. This is the Forced Fumble. Follow us on the social. We are going to go yank ourselves off, and I hope you do the same. If you get it, you get it. See you next time on the Forced Fumble.
Later.